Spotify. Does anybody here know what Spotify is? Please raise your hands. Who here knows what Spotify is? You all knew what Grab Taxi was. Okay, so we don't have quite the same sort of penetration, but our next speaker hopes to change that. As you know, music and entertainment are very big online, and we all know how strong music videos, how strong a following they have, for example, on YouTube. But how can brands leverage music technology and use that to enhance their marketing strategies? The Asia Managing Director of Spotify, Sunita Kaur, explains.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys, this is the home stretch. We can do this. So what I'm going to do is spend just the next 15 minutes talking about music, technology, and data. And this is actually something that we don't talk a lot about externally. It's a big, big, big part of what drives Spotify. And these conversations usually happen behind closed doors, along with like a creative agency, a media agency, and a client. So I think a lot of what I will share with you might be quite surprising. Now, just before I do that, I noticed that maybe not everybody in the room knows what Spotify is, so I'll take us a little bit out of the presentation and just use one slide to explain what exactly we do. So Spotify is a music streaming service. When I joined the company 2 years ago, we were in 24 markets across the world. Bless you. But right now, we're in 58 and working very, very hard to put our service into more music fans' hands across the world. So what do we mean by music anytime, anywhere? Everything that we build at Spotify is really across all devices and all platforms. So you can listen to Spotify on your desktop, your laptop, your mobile phone, across iOS, Android, and most recently, Windows. We are instant free across all devices, and at the moment we have 30 million songs on our catalog, and we add 20,000 songs to that service every single day. So what's on our playlist today? We're going to be talking about the evolution of music technology, how all of us have changed the way we consume music, share music, and discover music. And a lot of the things that we do at Spotify is based on data. It is based on data around what you're listening to, around what songs we have, as well as the different artists. And then what we do is we use that same data to partner with brands to really find out what would be the best approach for brands to stay relevant with all of this new technology that's constantly being built. But before we go forward, we might have to go back a little bit. And I dare say there's a few of us in this room that have actually lived through this timeline. So, we started with the vinyl and then the cassette, and then music started to get digitized in the form of a CD, which unfortunately then led to the big bad world of piracy. And at Spotify, and for a lot of the music streaming services across the world, piracy is still our #1 competitor. It's something that we battle every day. iTunes came in with downloads, and they started to make a real dent in piracy. And it's something that we at Spotify continue to fight every day. It's very easy to tell someone not to pirate music. It is easier when you can give them an alternative that is free and fast, but also safe and legal. That's what we aim to do every day. So let's have a little think about how we share music, maybe how we used to share music and how we share music nowadays. I remember the days of the mixtape. I remember sitting at my tape deck with my cassette tapes trying to tape music off the radio, sharing music with my friends, and it was kind of also the preferred method of communication to my high school crushes throughout those years. But the mixtape has really evolved for us at Spotify. And it's generally in the form of a playlist. And the great thing about the playlist is you can put together your electronic mixtape and not worry about the number of songs that's going to go on it. It's really, really changed the way we share music, because everything is at the click of a button where you can share it immediately on Facebook or Twitter or Spotify or on an email. And it's just really starting to grow. We see 2 million playlists being created every day on Spotify. So it's really a part of our real estate that's gaining a lot of traction. So that was a bit of sharing. So how did you discover music? Again, I think music sharing, whether it was the mixtape or the playlist, played a big part in discovering music. Now, discovering music for us is very close to our hearts, because what we are constantly doing is listening to what all of you in the room are listening to. So if you're a 45-year-old CEO of a company and you start to get recommendations from Spotify when One Direction breaks their latest song, it's not because we got it wrong. It's because you're listening to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys in the background. So that data doesn't lie. Don't blame us, and definitely don't blame your kids. It's you. So this part of the business is very pure, and a lot of the recommendations that we make are based on that data. And we couldn't do it without our friends at the Echo Nest. So the Echo Nest is a company that Spotify acquired last year. It is a music intelligence platform. And what this means is every single of those 30 million odd songs are tagged. They are tagged with in a variety of ways, and in the next slide I'll show you how that works, little insight into how that works. But it's artist understanding, it's song understanding, and it's understanding of our music fans' listening habits. So just a quick glance into what that means is the song data, for example, is tagged with tempo, key, loudness, beats, bars, rhythm, pitch, mood, genre, everything you can possibly imagine. And this helps us to build out our playlist recommendations and our song recommendations for all of you, because it is based on what you are listening to. Now, these recommendations go from song to artists. And one example that we love talking about is Lorde. And I'm hoping you've heard of Lorde in this room. But the story of Lorde is a very interesting one, because in early 2013, our label relations team in Australia started to see that there was this young girl trending really strongly in New Zealand. They started to look at her streaming data. They realized that she could really be a phenomenal talent to push out around the world. They reached out to her, and through the data that we continued to follow, as well as a number of different programs and platforms that we have at Spotify, we worked very, very closely with her. And this is essentially what happened. So she started work on her album, and when Pure Heroine was released, we put her on as a Spotify spotlight. We also started to put her on some of the largest playlists in the world, like Sean Parker's Hipster International. So that way, more and more people across the world started to listen to Lorde, and it started to really trend. Then we looked at the data, and the moment she hit streaming records in New Zealand and the US, we made a lot of noise about it, continued to work with her, and we do this a lot with artists. They come to us with pre-releases or exclusive stream rights, and we always go into overdrive with social and PR. And we were absolutely thrilled when she won essentially her incredibly well-deserved Grammy in the beginning of 2014. So there's lots and lots of these kinds of programs that we run very, very tightly with artists across the world. It's not just about bringing music to a country, it's also about bringing that country's talent to the rest of the world. So the final few slides are, we talked about how we use data for music curation for all of us in this room, how we use data to really build out an artist presence on Spotify, and I'm going to share with you how we use that same data to build out brand experiences that are pretty amazing on Spotify. And what I have here are 4 examples. We'll start with something quite gentle, and we'll end with probably what is, in fact, the most integrated partnership we have at Spotify. So let's start with brand presence. And again, you'll know a lot of these brands. We've got Coca-Cola. We've heard a number of examples from Coca-Cola today. And music is a big, big part of their brand. So, they're constantly building different playlists for different moments. And then we have Adidas. And what Adidas does is utility. So if you go to the Adidas Running Club on Spotify, what you can do is pick different playlists for either a pace, a length of run, or a tempo that you want. And again, when you think about data, none of these playlists could be built without the correct data. Another example we have is what Marvel did with Guardians of the Galaxy. And this was interesting because this wasn't built on Spotify. This was a microsite that was built separately, and they plugged our API into it. So what they were able to do, and for them, their soundtrack was really, really important when they launched the movie. So a lot of it was about the music, and they wanted fans across the world to build mixtapes. So mixtapes is actually something that's been trending quite heavily in the music sort of pop culture area in the past couple of years. And it was great because a lot of the music was kind of from the 70s and 80s. So we had not only people being reminded of songs that they've forgotten about, but we had this whole generation of kids actually discovering some really, really amazing songs from that era. Now, the last 2 examples are when we start to work far more with sort of cross-collaboration with different parts of our company. This example, where we say ready to get involved in a time-honored tradition, is about the release of a new album. This is one of the case studies that came out of a program we call The Drop. And it's when a brand comes to us and say they want to align with a big artist for the next big album release. So what I'm going to do is play the video so you can get a better idea of what McDonald's did with us and with John Mayer. have 43 seconds left. This timer is very stressful. Okay, so the last case study I have is really, like I said, the most integrated thing you could possibly do with Spotify. This is when our data and analytics team goes into overdrive. We look for what is sort of trending in the underground music scene across a specific country or continent, and together with a brand look to break the next big artist. And the reason we say, and this is when we go ring shopping, is because this partnership is a long, deep commitment, because it kind of usually lasts over a year, because there's a lot of things that are involved with building content and really getting behind the next big artist. So this platform is called Emerge, and it's my last video, and then we can wrap up the day. So did you know we were part of Breaking Macklemore and Ryan Lewis? Probably not. And there's all of these amazing things that we actually do together with brands across the world that we don't really talk about externally, but we're starting to really explore now. In fact, they'll be playing in the lobby with wine after this, but it's a big part of it is, data really powers absolutely everything we do at Spotify. The possibilities are pretty endless. So we love it when brands kind of look to go beyond the banner and really build out a great experience. And just in conclusion, I think we're incredibly excited, and hopefully the next time I see you, we'll be able to talk more about Emerge in Asia, because we've just started work on what you just saw with what we did with Macklemore to break the next big Asian artist. So that's going to be announced in the second quarter, and hopefully by the end of the quarter we'll have some really exciting things to talk about. And on that note, I thank you.
And we thank you, Sunita Kaur from Spotify. Do we have any questions? Go on. Last session of the day. We were so economical with the time during the day, in fact, that we got a lot of questions through the app, but it does mean that we do have a few minutes to spare in case there are any questions. Yes, microphone is coming your way.
Hello, thank you for your speech. I have a question regarding music videos. So we've seen recently a trend around like Beyonce releasing an album solely around videos. Mm-hmm. What is your take on it as Spotify? Like, are you looking to this as well?
For us, it's not videos. We're still building out our music streaming, so it's very much about audio. We still have a lot of work to be done.
Okay. But do you think it's something that will continue to trend, or?
I think music videos have always been a huge part of the music experience, and it'll definitely continue to trend. But for us right now, what we're really focusing on is building out the music streaming and audio service and still fighting piracy.
That sounds like the start of your next presentation.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions? In which case, thank you again, Sunita
you
Kaur
so
from
much.
Spotify.